Hello friends and welcome to daily current affairs session. So today is Thursday and I Snigdha will be taking up the current affairs related to your international relations part, right? So today we are going to discuss a very important topic. As you are all aware that India's relations with UK, or what you also call as Britain, right? We will get into the nuances of this, right? So UK कहना है, Britain कहना है, क्या कहना है, we will study that. So we'll be discussing these bilateral relations of India with the important nation Britain or UK in detail today, right? I have written it as part 1 because I think the discussion will be quite lengthy, that we will not be able to complete in one session. So we'll continue the discussion next Thursday also, right? So for now, basically we will discuss the entire gamut of the bilateral relation in detail, starting from the historical links, then moving to the current situation of the bilateral ties. What are the areas of cooperation, what are the issues that are restricting the full potential of the bilateral relation to be leveraged, right? What can be done in future to take the relationship forward, right? And then the India UK FTA is in news a lot, right? So we will discuss the details of that FTA also in detail, its significance, its issues, what is preventing FTA from getting signed, right? So all the details will be discussed. This is a very important topic for any government exam that you are sitting for, especially those exams where you get these subjective papers, ठीक है? तो उसमें it's highly likely that a question, answer writing question will be asked from this fair, right? Anshi, good afternoon, right? For everyone who is joining us today, we'll be discussing this very important topic from your exam perspective, that is India Britain or India UK relations, right? So now, before starting in-depth discussion of the bilateral ties, I want you all to check the geographical location of Britain, Great Britain, on the map, right? So this is the entire world that is presented before you in this picture. Here you can see India, right? At the head of the Indian Ocean, we see India placed very gracefully, right? Then we have countries like Russia, China, right? Entire Middle East, right? And to the east of all these areas we see Britain, right? This is Europe for all the people who are just getting into the preparation. I know all these terminologies are new to you, maybe some people have not checked the map yet, so for them I am giving these details. Europe, and then you have Britain to the east of Europe. Britain is also considered a part of the European area, right? Now let's see the map of Britain or UK in detail. If you see, this is how the Britain, the small part that we saw here, this one, this actually comes out to be, you know, like this in detail, right? So let's see the terminologies that keep reappearing and the confusion that they create. So basically different parts or different countries are there in these terms, that is Great Britain, United Kingdoms of Great Britain, right? So basically these countries that we are discussing here will include England, जो आप बहुत बार देखते हैं आपके डिस्कशन में, अगर आप हिस्ट्री भी पढ़ते हैं वहाँ भी इंग्लैंड, ब्रिटेन, यूके ये इंटरचेंजेबली यूज होता है. नाउ ऑल्सो इफ यू फॉलो द करंट अफेयर्स रेगुलरली, दीज टर्म्स आर यूज्ड इंटरचेंजेबली, राइट? बट दे हैव देयर स्पेसिफिक मीनिंग जो हम यहाँ डिस्कस कर लेंगे. इंग्लैंड एज अ नेशन इज देयर, देन वी हैव वेल्स, राइट? देन वी हैव स्कॉटलैंड, right? These are separate nation states, you can say, that are present, right? Then we have Ireland, and Ireland in total is also divided into two parts, the Northern Ireland part and then the Republic of Ireland, right? So these are the broad areas, right? Now you see England is a, England when we say, it means a sole nation state, right? then if somebody asks you what is Great Britain, then Great Britain is, you know, inclusive of your England with Wales with Scotland. These three parts, when they are combined together, that is when they are known as the Great Britain, right? Now the United Kingdom of Great Britain. United Kingdom of Great Britain will include Great Britain, that is England, Wales, Scotland with Northern Ireland, right? So 4 parts will be there in your United Kingdom of Great Britain, right? That is how these terminologies are there. Although everywhere, even in this discussion, you will see that the words are being interchanged, especially Britain and UK, they are very much used interchangeably, but in general, if you go into the details, this is basically the difference. Okay? This Republic of Ireland, this is completely sovereign nation. It does not come under the king or queen of the United Kingdoms. All these parts, they have given their sovereignty or their leadership to the queen, the monarchy of England or Britain, right? So isliye, but this area is a republic. They have a elected head of state. Here the head of the state would be the monarch, the British monarch, right? So ये basic difference है, ज़्यादा confused नहीं होना है. आपके use के लिए Britain, UK, it means the same, right? Right, now let's start the discussion, delve deeper into the bilateral ties, right? So you see, whenever we talk about Britain, the memories of the colonial rule will come into your mind, right? Britain को जब भी याद करेंगे, you will remember the historical past that we have had with Britain. That was not as we had expected, because the British, that they came as just mere traders of the world and ultimately became the rulers of India itself, right? हमारे यहाँ इंडिया में आए किस लिए थे? व्यापार करने, but ultimately they ruled us, took over the throne of India and ruled us for more than, 2 centuries or over 200 years, starting from 1757 broadly with the Battle of Plassey till our independence in 1947, right? So for over 2 centuries or 200 years, they ruled over the Indian subcontinent, especially the Indian part. And along all these years, they have impacted our lives, our economies, our polity in number of ways, right? Some of the impacts of the British rule have been positive, some of the impacts of British rule have been highly negative, right? That is why the picture that we get when we think of Britain is mostly, negative, towards the negative side, right? Because under the British rule, we witnessed our agricultural structure getting changed, the zamindari system that emerged in the form of permanent settlement system that led to the exploitation of farmers on a regular basis, leaving Indian agriculture in impoverished state and also backward technologically, right? Then when you talk about British impact on India's industry, we are all aware that British were very much responsible for the deindustrialization that India witnessed. The entire handicraft industry of India was, erased under the cheap machine-made goods coming from Britain at cheaper rates. They wiped out the market for Indian goods, as a result of which the handicraft of India, handicraft industry of India could not survive any longer, and India's deindustrialization process started like that under the British era, right? So all of these are the impacts that British left on us, our memories and our lives, right? And that is why we have that aura of negativity when we talk about India Britain. But that is, you have to see that, you have to understand that all these aspects are aspects of past. Now in the current era, in the current century, in the current decades, the India-British relations are moving forward in very, in many positive aspects. So the past of India UK relations is not so glorious, you can say. Rather, it has been marked by the exploitative colonial rule, right? But in the present times, if you see, India and UK relation, it holds lot of potential to be leveraged for the benefit of both the sides, right? दोनों ही कंट्रीज़ का रिलेशन अगर आगे बढ़ते हैं तो दोनों ही कंट्रीज़ को बहुत फ़ायदा होने वाला है, in economic terms, in global terms. Wherever you consider both the nations, the 5th largest economy of the world, the 6th largest economy of the world, if they join their hands together, both have much to gain from this bilateral cooperation, right? So let's see that what are the areas of cooperation, what are the areas in which the two countries are today, right? In the 21st century, they are collaborating with each other, right? So now there are multiple areas that are the areas of cooperation between the two countries, right? Historical ties were not so glorious, but today other spheres of the ties are doing very, very well, right? Starting from the political ties itself, starting from the bilateral political ties, right? Now, when we talk about the political ties, as I have told you a number of times earlier also, we need to understand the political level engagement of the two nations, ठीक है? जब जब आपको देखना है कि दो कंट्रीज़ के बीच में political ties कैसे हैं, आप कैसे जज करेंगे? You will judge that by the regularity of meetings, summits, visits that are there in the higher level political leadership of the two countries, ठीक है? So कितनी frequently PMs दोनों countries के मिल रहे हैं, कितनी frequently finance minister, foreign minister, secretaries, or in parliamentarians, different form of these high level visits, if they are happening on regular interval, regular basis, then the potential of political ties is very, very high. And that goes for India, UK also. The high level political visits are happening on regular basis. The summit meetings are arranged on regular intervals. The prime ministers, the head of the states, the parliamentarians, the judges, the election commissions, all these important institutions of our polity, they are engaging with each other on a regular basis. And the attempt is also to take this relationship, this engagement, this political exchanges forward in the coming years, right? अब आप देखिए, अगर आपको पाकिस्तान की एग्जाम्पल दी जाए, कितना लेवल ऑफ पॉलिटिकल टाइज है? लास्ट टाइम हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर कब मिले थे? कैन यू टेल मी दैट व्हाट वाज द लास्ट इवेंट और लास्ट ईयर व्हेन इंडिया पाकिस्तान लीडरशिप मेट बायलेटरली? इंटरनेशनल लेवल पे नहीं कह रही हूँ कि ग्लोबल मल्टीलेटरल फोरा पे आई एम आस्किंग दैट ऑन अ बायलेटरल लेवल व्हाट वाज द लास्ट ईयर और इवेंट व्हेन द इंडियन Pakistani leadership they met. If you can recall it, please type it in the comment box, right? Because this shows that what is the level of political engagement. Since India-Pakistan ties have been very weak, so at the political level also you see that the higher level engagement is very poor, ठीक है? अगर आप याद करने की भी कोशिश करें, लास्ट मीटिंग आपको याद नहीं आएगी, बिकॉज आपके प्रिपरेशन के इंटरवल में देयर वॉज नो bilateral meeting that has happened for years and years now, right? So that means political ties are very weak between India and Pakistan, right? और जब political ties ही weak होंगे, there is no possibility of any other type of ties to go forward, right? क्योंकि अगर आपकी लीडरशिप ही नहीं मिल रही, the decision makers of your countries, they are not sitting together to discuss areas of cooperation to solve issues, to solve bilateral issues, then how can the relationship go forward, right? जब ये बड़े higher authorities, when they sit together, they come out with various kind of decisions and cooperation measures, ठीक है? प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स मिलेंगे, दे विल डिस्कस कि हम साइंस के सेक्टर में कोऑपरेट कर सकते हैं, हम स्पेस कोऑपरेशन को आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं, हम ट्रेड को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए ये स्टेप्स ले सकते हैं. Agreements will be signed, MOUs will be signed, intents will be signed, right? All that happens when political ties, summits, visits, meetings happen on a regular basis. That is why the first limb of any bilateral relationship is the political ties, and these political ties between India and UK are considerably strong, right? We are meeting on regular intervals, we have parliamentary exchanges, we are also exchanging judges and judicial workers from one area to another to share information, to share knowledge, right? There are all party parliamentary group within the British Parliament. All party parliamentary group on India is present in the British Parliament, right? So you see, the Speaker of India and UK, they met together to share and discuss the parliamentary processes, right? Friend of India groups are there in all the three major parties of Britain. Britain में 3 major parties हैं, Labour Party, Conservative Party and third party you will tell me, right? There are 3 major parties of in Britain that we witness, and in all those parties, Friends of India group specifically catering to the interests of India and Indian diaspora are present, right? That also shows the significance of the level of political ties that we have, right? And then parliamentary exchanges are happening. On regular basis. Summits, regular summits. Now even we have decided, the leadership of the 2 countries have decided to conduct biennial summits, right? Then meetings, visits, like the one you see in the picture that keeps happening. Last time in April 2022, the former Prime Minister of Britain also visited India, right? So वो regular visits होती रहती हैं और agreements और MOUs साइन होते रहते हैं ताकि bilateral relationship को various sectors में आगे बढ़ाया जा सके, right? So the political level ties are very, very strong, right? So that is the first area where the 2 countries are cooperating, right? Now, the second very important area of collaboration is the economic ties, right? Economy is the king, right? Economy is equal to empire. Economy builds big countries, economy builds superpowers. आपके पास पैसा है, so the world will recognize you. But if you are economically weak, the world is not going to give you any place in the entire world decision making. ठीक है? So इसीलिए हर country का effort रहता है to grow economically. Firstly, to improve the domestic situations. हमारे नेशन के अंदर एजुकेशन, हेल्थ, न्यूट्रिशन, एम्प्लॉयमेंट, इन सब को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए हम इकोनॉमी पे फोकस करते हैं एंड वर्ल्ड स्टेज पे भी अपना नाम दर्ज कराने के लिए वी फोकस ऑन आवर इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट, राइट? सो that is why the economic relationships of India with the rest of the world are very important, and here we will see how the 2 countries, the 2 areas, India and UK, they are trying to cooperate with each other in economic sphere. ठीक है? इकोनॉमी में ऐसे बहुत सारे इनिशिएटिव्स, स्टेप्स, एरियाज हैं जहां दोनों कंट्रीज कोलैबोरेट कर रही हैं फॉर म्यूचुअल बेनिफिट, for mutual benefit, right? Now, when we talk of economic ties, first aspect that comes to our mind is trade. The first aspect that comes to our mind is trade. So the bilateral trade between India and UK is very good. It is doing great over the years, right? Now touching 24 billion in pounds. Great Britain pound, as we can say it. Today the bilateral trade has reached to 24 billion not dollars, but in the pound terms the bilateral trade has reached 24 billion, right? And the aim is also to double this trade. Both the countries are working to double this trade figure by 2030, right? So already अच्छा trade चल रहा है, but दोनों countries they will work, sit together, make situations to double the bilateral trade by 2030, right? Now UK is the 7th largest export destination for India, right? India जितने भी exports करता है उसमें से 7th number पे जो country आती है, that is UK itself, right? Both the countries have also established JETCO, or what you can call as the Joint Economic and Trade Committee, has been established by both the nations to resolve the issues related to trade and investment, to increase the level of trade and investment in between the two regions, right? So institutional mechanism भी establish किया गया है trade and investments को boost करने के लिए, right? Now the second important idea in economic ties is the bilateral investments. Right? The bilateral investments are also very huge. India is the second largest investor into UK, you can say. ठीक है, बहुत सारी Indian companies है that have established their businesses in UK, right? So इसी वजह से India की contribution into the UK's economy is very high, right? UK is the second largest source of FDI. India is the second largest source of FDI for UK. There are 850 around Indian companies that are working or that have established their presence within UK, right? And these companies are employing lakhs of people from Britain as well as from India, right? So that is how India is contributing to UK's economy, right? If you see, UK is also the 6th largest investor or source of FDI into India, right? UK is the 6th largest source of the investments that are coming into India, in total comprising around 6% of the total FDI that is received by India. Broadly अगर आप देखना चाहें, इंडिया में जितनी फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट आती है 6% of that comes from UK, right? All these data and numbers are important. You can use them in your answer writing to make your answers impressive. That is why I am discussing these, right? The next limb of cooperation is remittances. Economic ties अगर आप देखें, इंडिया का large diaspora is working, living in UK, and hence the remittances, the money returned by these diaspora to India is also huge, right? So UK forms the largest European sender of remittances to India. Largest European, यूरोप की कंट्रीज में अगर आप कंपेयर करें, UK is the largest European region to send remittances back to India, right? So in that way also the economic ties are very significant, because India is receiving lot of money in the form of remittances, right? And finally, if you consider the tourism sector of economies of both the nations is also benefiting a lot, right? UK is the second largest source of tourist arrival for India. India में जितने भी tourists आते हैं, second largest of them are coming from UK, right? 5 lakh Indians are going to UK each year and 4 lakh UK or British citizens they are coming to India each year. तो आप समझ सकते हैं ये कितना अपनी इकोनॉमी में contribution they are giving. They'll come, see tourism sector का बहुत benefit होता है. Whenever tourists come, they bring the foreign exchange with them, right? They will come in your country, they will use the services, the restaurants, the hotels, the tourist guides they will be paying. In number of ways they will be contributing to the economy of your country, right? So that is why this tourism sector is being highlighted here. Tourists are coming from UK to India and from India to UK for various purposes, right? That can be cultural tourism, that can be business tourism, that can be medical tourism, that can be educational tourism, right? So in that way also the two countries are benefiting a lot from the bilateral ties, right? So this is the entire gamut of the bilateral economic ties, how the two countries are cooperating with each other on these areas to boost their economic ties. Okay? So India is sending ready-made garments, India is sending vaccines, pharmaceutical products, India is sending textile items, pearls and all these items to UK and benefiting from them, right? So that is what defines the bilateral economic ties, right? So we discussed the second area of their cooperation, that is the economic ties. Okay? I hope you are getting all these points. We are discussing the relationship of India and UK, how in the current times the two countries are cooperating with each other, what are the areas of cooperation. The first area that we discuss is the high level visits and ties in the form of political relationship. The second area of cooperation that we discussed is the economic cooperation that the two countries are having, right? Now the third area of cooperation significance between the two countries is the diaspora presence that the two countries see from each other's territory. Okay? Indians are present in huge numbers in UK. As you can see the images of prominent Indians. Now the current PM of UK also is an Indian, right? So Indian diaspora has created huge presence in outside countries and UK is also one of that country, right? And now this diaspora plays a very important role in strengthening bilateral ties between the two countries. ठीक है? So जितने भी यहाँ Indians हैं, they spread our culture, they spread our knowledge base to the people of Britain. They try to strengthen the relationship. ऐसे बहुत सारे agreements हैं जो diaspora द्वारा facilitate कराए जाते हैं. जो हमारे highly educated Indians who are living in Britain, they are sending jobs to India, they are sending technology to India, they will be bringing technical know-how to India, right? So this presence of diaspora in the two countries is a very crucial factor for boosting the ties, right? Indians are present in UK in all the sectors, in all the forms. They are going for education, they are going for employment, they are going for setting up businesses, right? In that way, a 1.6 million strong diaspora is present in UK from India. ठीक है? They are also referred to as the living bridges by the Indian Prime Minister. जो diaspora है, they link, they bridge the relationship. UK और India के बीच में they act as a bridge. They facilitate policies that are conducive to India's interest. For example, आप देखिए, अगर migration easy करना है, let's say we want that Britain should have policies that support the migration of Indians from UK. How will that happen? These diaspora people, they can create that political pressure on their government to pass such laws that facilitate the migration of Indians from India towards UK, right? In that way, they will be facilitating the interests of India, and that way also they will be linking India with UK, right? So that is why this diaspora presence is very important for the bilateral ties, and increasing number of Indians are getting into UK, and both the countries are also in works to create easier migration in the two countries. इस aspect में there is a bill also that is there that will allow increased migration and mobility of people from India towards UK, right? So इस तरीके से the two nations are collaborating. The diaspora plays a very important role in strengthening the bilateral ties. आपने farm protest पे भी देखा होगा, when farm protests were going on in India, there was a huge Indian section within UK that was also supporting the cause of farmers, right? That shows that how Indians are present in UK and they are acting as a huge considerable force in that country, right? That is how this is important, right? That is how the presence of diaspora is very significant to take forward the bilateral ties. Now the fourth area of bilateral cooperation is the green energy cooperation, a very significant aspect. If you see UK as a nation, as a region, right? So UK, the people of UK, they are highly aware of their rights, they are highly aware of the environmental degradation processes also and their impacts on human health, animal health, right? इसी वजह से आप देखिए कि environmental activism is very high in countries, in developed countries like, in developed regions like UK, right? So इसी वजह से UK as a region, it focuses a lot on the green agenda. It focuses a lot on the green agenda. आप देखिए recently, if you have seen in the news, there were activists within UK. They were, vandalizing the very precious, crucial paintings of prominent, painters, right? जैसे कि Leonardo da Vinci आप कहें, उनकी मोनालिसा की paintings. There were many such prominent paintings that were vandalized by the people, the environmental activists. Why? Because they wanted their government to listen to their voice that demanded larger hearing of the concerns related to environment. तो यूके वगैरह या और डेवलप्ड रीजन्स आप देखेंगे, environmental activism बहुत हाई रहती है. They want all their policies to be climate sensitive. They want all their policies to be directed on the path of sustainable development, right? So इसी वजह से UK जो है green agenda पे बहुत focus करता है, and India is also a very responsible country. India wants its growth to be inclusive and sustainable. अगर आप 12th 5-year plan भी देखें, उसका भी एजेंडा यही था, and even current policies are focused on inclusive as well as sustainable development, right? So that is why both India and UK, they have joined their hands in creating green energy cooperation. ठीक है? So green solutions both the nations को provide करने के लिए the two countries are cooperating. For example, let's just briefly see various initiatives that they have taken to take their green energy cooperation forward. Right? So first is the global innovation partnership. Firstly, the two countries have launched the global innovation partnership, mainly focusing on creating climate smart technologies, right? दोनों countries ने इस partnership के अंदर climate smart technologies को डेवलप करने के लिए, प्रमोट करने के लिए they have joined their hands together, right? Then lot of green finance or environmental finance is coming from UK towards India, right? जैसे कि 1 बिलियन पाउंड्स की कमिटमेंट यूके ने की है टू फाइनेंस ग्रीन प्रोजेक्ट्स विद इन इंडिया, राइट? यूके इज putting lot of money in various forms in financing green projects within India. Right? So various projects have been launched by India, and there they are getting the support from Britain, right? So, and there is also green growth equity fund, again to finance green projects in India. different initiatives different times पे ये लिए गए हैं. आप bilateral level पे देखें, इंडिया यूके के बीच में इंडिया is getting lot of assistance from UK in the form of finance, in the form of equity, in the form of technology, right, in the form of expertise or technical know-how to create sustainable energy solutions. ठीक है, यूके डिफरेंट वेज में इट इज हेल्पिंग इंडिया टू ट्रांजिशन टूवर्ड्स अ ग्रीनर एनवायरमेंट, राइट? सो दैट इज वाई this cooperation is again very important. Bilateral level pe these are some of the projects that we have started with each other to take the green cooperation forward. आप multilateral level पे भी देखेंगे. At multilateral level, both the countries are cooperating on the ISA platform, that is the International Solar Alliance platform, राइट? इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस जो कि एक इंडिया लेड इनिशिएटिव है ग्रीन एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करने का, सन की पावर को लीवरेज करने का. देयर ऑल्सो यूके इज एन इम्पॉर्टेंट पार्टनर, एंड अंडर ISA itself we have both countries have started green grid initiative, basically to boost global grid system in the world, right? Global interconnected electricity grid create करने के लिए both the countries will be cooperating, right? So that is how also the two countries are trying to take the relationship forward. So apart from all the other sectors that we have discussed, in green energy transition also the two countries are cooperating in a significant manner. Right? Now the next important area of the bilateral tie is the cultural ties. Again, as I have told you, both the countries have a long historical past. 200 साल तक ब्रिटिश ने इंडिया में राज किया था. So now cultural historical links are very strong between the two countries, as you can see, right? And current era में भी ये effort किया जाता है that both the countries are able to take their cultural collaboration forward, right? इसके लिए टॉक्स अरेंज की जाती हैं, सेमिनार्स अरेंज किए जाते हैं, प्लेज होते हैं, जॉइंट बुक शोज होते हैं, फिल्म शोज होते हैं, एग्जीबिशंस होती हैं, राइट? ऑल ऑफ दीज आर टू शोकेस ईच अदर्स कल्चर, टू वैल्यू ईच अदर्स कल्चर, राइट? सो कल्चरल लेवल पे भी the efforts are made in the cultural sphere also to have stronger relations, stronger bilateral relations in the cultural sphere as well, right? So you can always mention that different kind of shows based on films, based on book readings, based on music, right, dances, all these kind of cultural collaboration is also taking place between the two countries. ठीक है? So that is also an important area of their collaboration or cooperation, right? The sixth very important area of cooperation is the cooperation in the science and technology field, right? In the science and technology field, right? Now understand that UK is a leader in science and technology field. आप देखिए, if you have read world history, which was the first nation to industrialize in the world? Tell me in the comment box quickly, which was that first nation to industrialize, to see industrial revolution in the world? Quickly tell me in the comment box, all the students who have read world history, which was the first nation to see industrial revolution? See, UK or Britain, as it was called earlier, the Great Britain was the first nation to see industrial revolution. So Britain was the first nation to industrialize. So it has leadership in research and development. Lot of science and technology initiatives keep coming up in Britain. They get a lot of funding, and that is why Britain is also a leader today, because it was the first nation to industrialize, and it has a long tradition of intensive research and development culture, right? That is why also you see the trio of top ranking universities, that is London University, Oxford University and the Cambridge University, is also present in Britain itself, right? Britain focuses a lot on quality education and research, and as a result it has the topmost universities in its territory, in its sphere, right? Then you also, if you see the rank of Britain on cyber power index, on the cyber power index, the rank of Britain is 3rd, right? That means in the cyber sector also Britain is doing significantly well, where Indian rank is only at 21, right? So British is doing very well. The British people, the British nation is doing very well in cyber sector, and also on the innovation, the global innovation index, Britain stands at 4th, while India stands at the 46th position, right? This shows how Britain is acting as a leader in science and technology, and by virtue of that, Britain can be a very significant partner for India. Britain can be a very significant partner for India. India can leverage the entire scientific know-how of Britain for its own growth, for its own social development, right? So इसीलिए साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के फील्ड पे भी कोऑपरेशन बहुत ज़्यादा नेसेसरी है एंड यूजफुल है फॉर बोथ द कंट्रीज. ब्रिटेन कैन लीवरेज लॉट ऑफ monetary benefits by transferring its technology to India, and India can benefit by receiving latest technology from Britain, right? So that is why also in the scientific field the two countries are collaborating. In 2006 itself, both countries established Science and Innovation Council, where latest developments in the field of science can be discussed and taken forward by the leaders of the two countries, right? Both countries are involved in joint research and development and joint funding of projects in various fields. It can be in space, it can be in green energy as we discussed earlier, it can be in telecom sector, even in defense sector. Both the countries are collaborating to create new technology solutions, right? Both the countries are also working to promote role of women in the STEM fields. STEM fields, that means science, technology, engineering, mathematics and medicine, राइट? विमेन की रिप्रेजेंटेशन को साइंटिफिक फील्ड्स में इंक्रीज करने के लिए बोथ द कंट्रीज आर कोलैबोरेटिंग, राइट? And the latest example of the bilateral cooperation you saw in the form of the vaccine that came out for your COVID, right? ऑक्सफोर्ड ने इस पे रिसर्च की. द यूनिवर्सिटी, ऑक्सफोर्ड यूनिवर्सिटी came out with the research and development for a vaccine on COVID, right? Then AstraZeneca, the important company of UK, that was the industrial force behind the development of this vaccine. And then the Serum Institute of India, Serum Institute of India is the important manufacturing partner of AstraZeneca. आपको पता ही है that India is now even known as the pharmacy of the world. Most of the pharmaceutical products and medicines, they are built in India. India has that huge capacity to build pharmaceutical products on a large scale. That is why this company joined hands with Serum Institute to produce the COVID vaccine on a large scale, on a huge scale that can meet the requirements of the entire world. ठीक है, इनके पास खुद के पास इतनी कैपेसिटी नहीं है कि ये इतनी वैक्सीन्स पूरी दुनिया के लिए बना सके यूके और इंडिया के बाद. That is why they joined their hands with one of India's institute, that is Serum Institute of India, to create the production of the level required, right? So this COVID shield is an example of developed in UK, right, and manufactured, made in India and supplied in the entire world vaccine. ठीक है, तो आप एज एन एग्जाम्पल इसको यूज़ कर सकते हैं हाउ इंडिया एंड यूके's collaboration in the scientific field has benefited not just the two countries but the entire world, right? When both the countries joined hands, they benefited each other as well as they gave out positive results to the entire world, right? So that is how this example can be used. And in future there is a lot of potential for the two nations to collaborate in cyber field. आजकल आप देख रहे हैं कि cyber threats are increasing exponentially. India is the one of the top vulnerable countries of cyber threats. UK also is witnessing similar kind of threats. Even while the development of this vaccine itself, UK saw a lot of cyber attacks on its database, the medical database, right? So cyber के field में दोनों countries बहुत threats face कर रही हैं. And UK is a leader in cyber technology. As we discussed its ranking, it is third in the cyber powered index, right? So UK की technology, cyber know-how, India can get that technology and know-how and bolster its own cyber security, right? In that way, again, this is a future high potential area of cooperation for the two countries. ठीक है, so ये सारे points आप use कीजिए अपने आंसर लिखते हुए whenever there is a talk about science and technology cooperation of India and Britain. ठीक है, ये सारे एरियाज ऑफ कोऑपरेशन आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्योंकि आपको ब्रॉडली क्वेश्चन आ सकता है ऑन इंडिया यूके रिलेशंस और देयर माइट बी स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन ऑन एनी पर्टिकुलर एरिया ऑफ कोऑपरेशन, जैसे साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी इटसेल्फ कैन बी आस्क्ड, right? So if you have these 5 to 8 points that we are discussing here, you will be able to write a comprehensive answer. ठीक है, तो ये सारे points का note आपने पास बना के रखिए. Keep revising it because nothing is useful without revision. Whatever you read once, you have to revise it multiple times till the examination day to be able to write an effective answer, right? So we have discussed these 6 areas of cooperation. The next area is nuclear cooperation. Again, civil nuclear cooperation, that is utilization of nuclear power for civilian uses, for example energy generation, electricity generation, has been signed, you can say, by the two countries or the two regions. Both are trying to establish joint research projects, development projects in the न्यूक्लियर फील्ड एज वेल, राइट. सो न्यूक्लियर के सेक्टर में भी कोऑपरेशन को फोकस किया जा रहा है, राइट. देन the next area of cooperation is education sector. Education sector is a very important area where the two countries are collaborating. You see, more than 30,000 Indian students are already studying in UK, right, in various sectors, in various universities, medical, non-medical, arts, commerce, everywhere you see number of Indian students present in UK, right. That is why India and UK, they have also established India UK Education and Research Initiative. Let me just write it here for you to better understand. India UK educational ties. Education बहुत important area है क्योंकि इंडिया के बहुत सारे यूथ जो है यूके की तरफ जा रहे हैं फॉर क्वालिटी एजुकेशन. सो मोर देन 30,000 इंडियंस आर स्टडिंग करंटली इन यूके, राइट. बोथ हैव एस्टैब्लिश्ड इंडिया यूके एजुकेशन एंड रिसर्च इनिशिएटिव. इंडिया एंड यूके, दे हैव एस्टैब्लिश्ड इंडिया यूके रिसर्च एंड एजुकेशन इनिशिएटिव. फर्स्टली इन 2005 ये बनाया गया था. देन सेकेंड फेज इसका 2011 में रीलॉन्च किया गया था टू बोल्स्टर द बायलैटरल कोलैबोरेशन इन द फील्ड ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड रिसर्च, राइट. बोथ कंट्रीज हैव ऑल्सो एस्टैब्लिश्ड इंडिया यूके एजुकेशन फोरम, again a body to look into education related matters with respect to the two countries. ठीक है. So in these different ways the two countries are collaborating. UK is investing money into Indian capacity development, you can say. इंडिया के यूथ को कैपेसिटी को डेवलप करने के लिए बहुत सारा पैसा यूके की तरफ से आ रहा है अंडर वेरियस इनिशिएटिव्स. दे आर ट्राइंग टू प्रोवाइड वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग टू इंडियंस, स्किलिंग टू इंडियंस, सो दैट इंडियंस आर बेटर एडुकेटेड, दैट कैन देन ऑल्सो सपोर्ट यूकेज इकोनॉमी, राइट. सो इस तरीके से द लेवल ऑफ कोऑपरेशन इन द एजुकेशन सेक्टर इज ऑल्सो वेरी वेरी significant, right. So that is the next area. The last area that we today are going to discuss is the defense ties. Again, in the defense field, the bilateral cooperation is very very strong and evolving over the years, right. Defense cooperation आप देखें, so we have established various dialogue mechanisms, you can say defense dialogue. The bilateral defense dialogue mechanisms have been established, right, and regular visits of the heads of defense sector are there, like the chief of staff of the two nations are meeting on regular basis, right. Regular defense dialogues are happening, right. Then capacity development के लिए again the two countries are collaborating in the form of joint exercises. In comment box tell me that which is the joint exercise happening between India and England or India and UK, right. Capacity development के लिए एक दूसरे की strengths and weaknesses से सीखने के लिए joint exercises हो रही हैं, right. Training programs are also there for the defense forces, right. बहुत सारे UK के soldiers can come to India to get involved in training initiatives, and many Indian soldiers also visit UK for their training initiatives, right. बहुत सारी ऐसी अकेडमीज़, डिफेंस अकेडमीज़ जैसे हमारे NDA वगैरह हैं, यहाँ पे अगर कोई ट्रेनिंग इनिशिएटिव चल रहा है, सो मैनी फॉरेन सोल्जर्स ऑल्सो कम टू जॉइन दोज ट्रेनिंग इनिशिएटिव्स, राइट. इन दैट वे these training exchanges are also happening, right. Then thirdly, डिफेंस बिजनेस में भी बहुत कोऑपरेशन दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में है, राइट? पहले डिफेंस डायलॉग, देन कैपेसिटी डेवलपमेंट, एंड नाउ डिफेंस बिजनेस में भी बहुत कोऑपरेशन स्ट्रॉन्ग है दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में. इंडिया डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट्स, इंडिया इज इम्पोर्टिंग फ्रॉम UK in various ways, right? Both countries have also established joint working group between the defense industries. Defense industry joint working group has been JT means joint working group has been established by the two countries to solve the issues related to their defense trade and to boost the defense trade in future, right? And then research and development cooperation is also there between India's DRDO and DSTL, or DSTL is nothing but Defense Science and Technology Lab of Britain. ठीक है? So इंडिया की डिफेंस इंडस्ट्री बॉडी एंड UK की डिफेंस बॉडी के बीच में रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट लेवल की कोऑपरेशन भी हो रही है, सो दैट न्यू डिफेंस टेक्नोलॉजीज कैन बी इवॉल्व्ड, right? So you see, in defense sector also they are cooperating in different ways. They are discussing the defense issues at higher level, right? Then they are working on building the capacity of their own armies and navies by joint training, by joint exercises, right? Then they are also doing defense business with each other and with the rest of the world also. That is why again the defense cooperation becomes an important part of the bilateral tie, right? So हमने ये सारे areas of cooperation we have discussed in detail, how India and UK are collaborating on political level, on economic grounds and all the other areas. ठीक है? So जो भी हमने इसमें points discuss किए हैं, keep them noted with you and keep revising them for future reference. ठीक है? So अभी इंडिया UK के बीच में और बहुत सारे aspects हैं that we have to discuss, right? These maps show these are the trade figures, although you need not go into such details. Just for representation level, this is the presence of Indians in the all the parts of UK, right? Indian owned firms are there in various sectors, real estate ho, hospitality ho, pharmaceutical ho, healthcare ho, right? So and technology cooperation is also being focused by the two nations, right? So abhi there are lot of aspects that we will cover in the next Thursday session, so join me next Thursday also for the rest of the discussion. And for today your question is this, you can write an answer to this question and post it on our website, you will get it reviewed, right? That was all for today's session. If you have any doubts, post it in the comment box, we'll reply to that. Thank you so much for joining.